There are certain portfolio projects that will never get you a data analyst or a data scientist job. Maybe, to put it mildly, they would make it very difficult for you. As someone who has been involved in hiring data analysts before, I see a lot of portfolio projects that doesn't showcase adequately or satisfactorily people's skill set, and at the end, even though they might be great for the job, they do not end up getting the job. So we're going to be looking at what are those portfolio projects that you should avoid if you have intentions of getting a job, and I will share with you what makes a good data portfolio project. And if you hang around to the end, I will share some tips on how you can get data for your data analytics or data science project. So let's go. You see, the idea of a portfolio project is so you can showcase your skill sets to the employee. What makes a great portfolio project is that when presented, everything about it screams that this person is good and they are very well knowledgeable with this tool, and if you hire them, they pretty much know everything that they would be doing on a day-to-day. So I'm going to give you some examples of bad projects. Number one, too generic or common projects. Example would be the Titanic dataset, Superstore, Airbnb data used in Google Analytics certification course, for example. The problem with this is just that they are not solid enough. You can imagine that the solutions of all of these datasets exist online. Like asking who is going to survive on the Titanic. We all know Jack died and Rose made it alive. In fact, there's a movie for it. Those projects are good for learning, but when looking for a job, definitely not. Now, or you're working on the iris dataset, classifying flowers by their sepal or petal length. I'm sorry, but everyone is also doing that. That's good to learn, but not good to show when you're building a portfolio project. That takes me to my first point of what makes a good portfolio project. And the first thing I will say is be distinct. Think about a project that you care about and solve it in a way using your data analytics or data science knowledge. That way you can have your own personal story around it and it can be interesting during the interview. For example, when I got my first data science job, I built this machine learning model to forecast shoe sizes. Why did I build it? You see, I'm this kind of guy that forgets my shoe size when I go to buy shoes, and I thought, why hasn't anybody thought about making a shoe size prediction from your height? And I thought it was a cool project, and I basically built that. And when I went for the interview of my first job, I showed them that, and it was pretty cool for everyone. So you see that that's not something everybody's thinking about. This was a problem that was peculiar to me, and I was also able to build a story around it, and that even serves as the basis of conversation in an interview. And as you can imagine, this was really impressive for my manager at the time, or the hiring manager. So definitely no one was no one that was applying for the job at the time did it, and like I did. So don't do something generic. Make sure to be distinct, and when you stand out like that, it also shows that you have your own thought process and you can build something for yourself, and you can also share a story around it, makes you to stand out. That takes me to the second kind of portfolio project that will never get you a job. Badly documented projects. Keyword here are simplicity and clarity and no complexity. So think of project documentations like the user manual of an electronic or a gadget. Imagine you walk into a store and you buy an electronic or a gadget and it comes with no user manual. If you really like the gadget, maybe it's a game console or whatever, you probably will sit down and try to figure it out, which will take you a lot of time. But if you don't, you probably just toss it away or give someone else. Now, that's the same thing that happens when you submit your portfolio project to an hiring manager and it is badly documented. The hiring manager that has probably tens or hundreds of CVs to have to walk through will just look to your CV and just throw it away, because it will take them a lot of time that they unfortunately do not have to understand what your project is all about. A badly documented project will leave the user to figure out what you did, which sadly a lot of hiring managers don't have the time for. So if you're building machine learning app or a dashboard as your project, you want to take the time to really explain to the hiring manager what you did and what it is all about. And that takes me to what indicates a proper data science or a data analytics project. If you're building a data science repo, you need to add proper readme files to it. If you're building a dashboard, you need to have proper introductions to your dashboard that shows the intent of your dashboard or whatever you're building. Your documentation should answer questions like, what is the problem? How did you solve the problem? How does this relate to the job you're applying to? Of course, there could be other questions. You can add to these three, but those are the basic three that you really want to get out there. So if you're building dashboards either in Tableau or Power BI, and simple notes to the dashboards that shows, okay, this is what we did here, this is why I did this. Don't just leave the user to have to figure out, oh, what's she doing here. If you're writing a script, a Python script, maybe for a machine learning project, add documentations at every line. Explain, this is the segment where I do descriptive analysis, this is the segment where I build the model. What that does is it carries the user along, and they feel really part of the project. And of course, the interesting thing about this is that with tools like ChatGPT, your documentation can even be easier. You can check this video out here where I shared about using ChatGPT to write better documentations in a very clear and faster way. Now, let's go to the third point. What are data science? What are data projects that you completely want to avoid? Unrelated data projects. You know, people write me often asking me to help them review their CVs for data science or machine learning positions, and sometimes I'm surprised as to the mixture of data projects that are on their CV or other kind of projects that are not even data related. So you can imagine someone who has been a software engineer before and now wants to, or been in the academia and now wants to transition to data science or to data analytics, and you find in their CV, in their portfolio project list, that they have 2, 3, 4 projects. One of them is probably a data science project and the remaining 3 are software engineering projects. And I'm like, the question is, how do you expect the hiring manager who is a data analyst or a data scientist to evaluate your skills? Basically, you're presenting to this guy projects that have no bearing to the job you're relating to, you're applying for. Now, what is the solution to this? Of course, it is obvious that you have to make all your portfolio projects completely data related. If you need examples for data related projects, you can check this video here where I shared ideas, specific ideas about 5 portfolio projects that I think are cool. You can add your own ideas to it, make them better, but don't build exactly the same thing I talked in those examples. Now, to the data sources that I talked about for your data project. Of course, there are so many places where you can find data. Kaggle gives you a lot of free and clean data, and I also like Kaggle also because you can join competitions there. You can really earn your skills. I'm sure everybody knows about Kaggle already. Another place where you can get data for your data projects are awesome public data sets on GitHub. I'm going to put the link in the description. I really do like the fact that the data sets are in different segments and on different kind of topics. So if you want to build a dashboard or a machine learning app on projects about agriculture or finance or banking, you most likely, or sports, you most likely would find data in awesome public data sets on GitHub. Now, another place where you can find data are publicly available APIs. You know, a lot of organizations give you access to their APIs data for free, of course with some certain restrictions, maybe like limits. For example, this YouTube project that I built was basically me connecting to the YouTube API to get data about YouTube videos that are online, and I made an analysis of it. And that also shows you how to build something distinct. You can connect to the API, get the data, and just explore. Another way you can find data are personal data. So for example, you could get your own log data from all of the Google platforms, for example Google Calendar, or you can even, if you feel comfortable, download your bank statement and maybe do some analytics on the data, and then you have your own personal data that way. The last one, which I don't want to spend too much time on really, is web scraping. Of course, why I don't want to spend too much time on it is just because of the ethical concerns. But I would say if you want to do it, be careful, make sure that it's legally allowed on whatever data that you want to crawl. Now, a lot of people actually find learning data science quite difficult, but this doesn't have to be the case. Data science can be easy if you understand the secrets to make it so. In this video right here, I share 6 personal secrets to make data science easy. Check it out, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.